started.
They're coming in.
Okay. Oh, I hear it. Good evening. Good evening. Let's see. Oh, great. Good evening, everyone. Good to see you all. We're going to go ahead and get started with our District 6 community conversation. We have a lot to cover, and I also want to be able to ensure we have enough time towards the end for our conversation with you all and to see if you have any questions, feedback, thoughts, or comments for us while you have us here. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Eshé Collins. I am honored to serve as your District 6 representative and also chair of the board. With us, we have I have my colleagues, the Vice Chair Aretta Baldwin, who represent District 2, and Jessica Johnson, who is our at-large member, seat 9. For many of you that have not had the opportunity to meet Board Member Johnson, she replaced Jason Estevez, who was our our former seat 9 representative in January. So welcome to our first District 6 community conversation for this year. I also want to acknowledge, and I'm going to open with her shortly, is Dr. Danielle Battle, our interim superintendent, that is joining us, and many of you all are familiar with Dr. Battle. We also have members of we have Travis Norvell, our Chief Engagement and Strategy Officer, with us, along with Eshé Collins and Crystal Sarasin. Did I say that correct? Always, Crystal.
Harrison. Harrison like Harrison.
Sorry,
Cool.
Sarah, with our Family and Community Engagement department joining us as well. But we also want to hear from you all. So in the chat, if you can give a shout out where, your name, the school that you're representing, the community you're representing, how you're feeling tonight, just please feel free to put that information in the chat so that we'll have it. Just give that acknowledgement in our chat. We have principals that are joining us as well that are coming in. So I see Principal Harvey, our amazing principal for Heritage Academy, that's joining us. Kelly Gunn, the executive director for Kendesi Schools, that's supporting us at Gideon's. I'll be looking looking throughout. So please feel free to just shout yourselves out. Just to give you an overview of tonight's agenda, we're going to spend again about 5 minutes just doing some introductions. I'll provide some highlights of what's happening in our cluster. Also give you an update of recent work that is taking place with the board. We had a couple of retreats today that I do want to update the community on, share a few dates with you all, and then reserve the remaining of our time to hear from you all. So my goal is to keep us on track and have about the last 25, hopefully, fingers crossed, 30 minutes of community conversations with you guys. So I want to again acknowledge, as everyone is entering tonight's meeting, that we have Dr. Danielle Battle that is joining us. Dr. Battle, we named and swore her in as our interim superintendent for the 23-24 school year. And so, many of you all, if you have not had the chance to meet the amazing Dr. Battle, she's a familiar face in APS. She worked in APS for 19 years, serving as the principal of Parkside Elementary, ML King Middle School. She was our associate sup, and at the time of her retirement, only 2 years ago, 2021, she was the interim chief of schools and academics. And so Dr. Battle will lead our daily operations of the school system, serving as our superintendent. We'll continue to work with the board on our goals and our work with our student outcome focused governance. We are excited to have her here, and she's excited to step into this role. And she has some goals that she would like to reach to strengthen APS as well. And so having her here, Dr. Battle, would you like to introduce yourself, and would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Hi, everybody. It's good to see you. As our board chair stated, I'm Danielle Battle, and I do have Erica Long, who's my chief of staff. She's on the call.
Okay.
And I want to thank the parents and the community members for being here. And I'm excited to hear from you and listen and learn from you as well. Just know that this administration will be leading with care, and that care stands for compassion, accountability, respect, and empathy. That's the work that we'll work with our board in and our community as well as our schools. So thank you so much. And I'm going to turn it right back over to you, Ms. Collins.
Great, great. Thank you so much. And yes, also want to acknowledge, yep, Erica Long, who has served with us for as our policy advisor and now is our chief of staff. I also want to acknowledge Tiffany Reagan, Reagan principal over at Dobbs Elementary that has joined us. Good to see you. And also Emily Holland that works with our family and community engagement department as well. So want to also acknowledge you all. So we've had a couple of transitions and a couple of transitions that of individuals that have joined APS. And so I want to give a shout out to the new principal of Crawford Long Middle School, Carla McCoo, who has joined us. She was actually the former assistant principal at Long Middle School and was promoted and elevated to the principal role of Crawford Long this year. She's a former mathematics teacher, a two-time Teacher of the Year, 2011, 2016, and was named the 2016 national finalist for the new teacher project supportive classroom practices. So wanted to give a little shout out to Principal McCall that's joining us at Crawford Long. So feel free to hit your reaction buttons if you can, just to get some shine there. We also have Dr. Dante Edwards that is joining us as the new principal of Thera High School. If you have not had the opportunity to meet him as well, he has 15 years as an administrator. He is the former assistant principal at Jackson High School and at Mays High School. He serves as an Aspire Leader coach, has increased CTAE and STEM programming and everything that he has touched. And so we're really excited to have him in the den at Thera High School and joining our Panthers. We also have new principal, Mr. Robert Owens, who is the new principal at Kendesi at Gideon's Elementary. He is 13 days in the role, you all. So let's make sure we wrap our arms tightly around around Principal Owens. But he is not new. Let's be clear. He is not new to the Carver cluster. He actually served as the former assistant principal at Sylvan Hills Middle School, and he actually attended Gideon's as an elementary student years ago. So I want to send a little shine to Principal Owens, who's now the new principal at Gideon's Elementary, and give a shout out to the work that he's leading, launching the Gentlemen of Gideon's morning carpool support that we've heard great things about from the community already. So want to give some shine there. And then since our last community conversation, we also have a new principal and Principal Guilford joined as the new principal of Sylvan Hills Middle School after our conversation last year. But if you haven't had the opportunity to meet him, I also want to give him a little shine. He is the former assistant principal. He served as 4 years as the assistant principal at Best Academy, and also at Eddie J. White K-8 Academy. He's a former behavior specialist at North Atlanta High School, a program manager of our high school graduation coaches in the district, and so really excited to have his leadership as well. But also want to lift him up. He's been in the role as well. In addition to Dr. Edwards, they came on board towards the middle to ending part of last school year. So I wanted to acknowledge them. And so then just to give highlights on where we are as a district and some of the cluster highlights. And so with I'll start with the Thera cluster. All 6 of our Thera cluster schools, if you've been following our launch in esports and e-competition, and that's been a big piece that our students have really shared feedback to us about and wanting to see more about. So all 6 of our cluster schools, Thera cluster schools, are participating in the district esports competition. And if you haven't had the chance to visit the e-labs at Thera High School and Kimberly Elementary, want to strongly encourage you to do so. I want to give a shout out to the the Nu Lambda Omega chapter of the Alpha Kappa Alpha, AKA's volunteer group that sponsor over 100 students with weekly meals for the weekend recently. And this is their second year supporting Kimberly Elementary, which doubled their impact over the year. And so this is addressing the need that in terms of those weekly meals that community members had reached out to the schools about, and being able to actually meet that need. Want to give a shout out to Fickett Elementary. They are relaunching their partnership with UPS through mentoring. They have 25 UPS executives coming to Fickett monthly to mentor the students there. And then, of course, if you followed us closely, we relaunched our Democracy Tour, which was Democracy Fest that all of our high schools participated in over the last. This is year 3, and part of it actually aligned with voter registration and increasing civic engagement and now and education for our students. All of our high schools have had those rounds of Democracy Fest, and so the Democracy Tour visited Farrell High School and was able to register 20 students to vote and 21 students to serve as poll workers in upcoming elections. And I'll give you an important update to mark your calendars of an upcoming election that is happening. For Crawford Long, I want to give shout out to, again, Crawford Long Middle School. We launched the Verizon Innovation Learning Lab there, which is only the second in Georgia. The other school that has the Verizon Innovation Learning Lab is Booker T. Washington or Herman J. Russell.
Herman J. Russell.
Yeah, sorry, Herman J. Russell Middle School there. So we have the only 2 innovative learning labs in the state. And I was able to visit Crawford Long and just see the amazing things that our students are engaging in technology, learning 3D print, learning how to create ideate and create whatever they want and actually make it happen, whether it's 3D printing. They are accessing virtual technology, and doing amazing things with STEM. And so if you haven't had the opportunity, please get the opportunity to check out the Verizon Innovation Learning Lab, either at Crawford Long or at Herman J. Russell. And then I also want to give a shout out to South Atlanta High School, particularly students DeMar Goodman, Quentin Carter, Ambrielle Brooks, and Bishop C. Brooks. They were actually first place winners at the recent 8th National American Teen Mogul competition in STEAM, and they took home the winning prize, beating out national contestants, winning $10,000. And so I want to uplift that competition, and also those students. Quentin Carter, he served on our student advisory board, and Ambrielle Brooks and DeMar Goodman and Bishop C. Brooks are highly involved in student leadership and SGA at South Atlanta. And so this list isn't exhaustive. This list isn't exhausted and doesn't cover all of the great work that is happening in District 6, but I do want to uplift some of those most recent highlights. If you have any additional to share, please feel free to drop them in the chat. We have about 40 to 45 people joining us, and so let's spread as much love as we can. So just to turn gears on what's currently happening, today the board made its final selection of a search firm. As you know, we'll be launching our superintendent search this year. And so the board, the consensus was to choose the search firm Hazard Young Atia to help to lead this search. As just to give you a background of the process, over the summer, we did release an RFP for firms who wanted to lead the superintendent search for APS to submit proposals. We chose the top 3 of those proposals that were selected for interviews. We held those interviews approximately. It was actually on our September board meeting day, and interviewed those three organizations or firms. We also did a deep reference check between this time frame, and today selected the search firm. And so the board intends to move forward with Hazard Young and Atia as the search firm. We've worked with them in the past. They supported us in the search in our last superintendent search, and so very familiar with their work. This is a new team. A large part of what we emphasized the board wanted to see happen was robust community engagement strategy, and also and also that opportunity to really have community voice and building the profiles. So I will put that there. We also met on our facilities master plan. We had our facilities master plan retreat today. Now, if you all have followed us, our facilities master planning is part of our efforts of deciding what APS wants to do with the vacant property that we have throughout the city. November of last year, the board made a decision to move forward with 16 vacant properties that were aligned with criteria that our facilities department, led by Larry Hoskins, felt that we did not that needed to be surplus. We'll put the link to that page in the chat so you have access to those presentations. In March, we began to explore the idea of some of the spaces that we may want to hold our land. Do we sell? Do we sell certain properties? And what is our strategy with that? Today, the administration did a deeper dive into what are our options are in terms of of APS still retaining ownership of our property, but really exploring and being open to opportunities of affordable housing for educators, affordable housing that support mixed use and mixed development in some of those spaces. And so the board will the next step from our retreat, administration will start to have conversations and lock down what we call IGAs, or intergovernmental agents agreements, to have land development and land authorities support us in this work. That work, that's on the administration side. The board will not make any immediate decisions on any land or property until the administration comes to us with the update or progress and where those IGAs are. I share that with you because we receive a lot of calls and comments about where APS is in terms of our properties. We get calls. I think every board member has gotten a touch point from either a potential buyer, potential or community concern about our vacant properties. And so we're trying to streamline our processes as tight as we can to ensure that we are being good stewards by school property. So those are the main updates in terms of our superintendent search and also our facilities master plan retreat that I know a few people on the call that have joined this call have inquired about. So I wanted to give you an update, provide a couple of updates to mark your calendars on, and then we will turn it over for any community questions or comments. I also, before we do that, I also want to take the opportunity to also acknowledge a couple of our additional leaders that have joined us. So I see Principal St. Joy, principal of Hutchinson Elementary, that has joined us. Let's see, anyone else? I know want to acknowledge the staff and leadership of Councilman Byron Amos that has joined us. And so wanted to acknowledge, and also Jennifer Freeman with Nakima Williams' office, who is our Congresswoman rep for this area, Congress rep. So wanted to put that there as well. Upcoming dates on tomorrow, and I know we have Keisha and Crystal with us. The Family and Engagement Department will be hosting its quarterly Family Professional Learning Series, and tomorrow's series will focus on understanding the new math standards. Keisha, do you want to provide additional details? And we'll put this in the if it's not already in the chat, we'll put this in the chat as well in terms of any additional dates, or excuse me, time and location.
Yeah, so it will be on Zoom tomorrow from 6 to 7. And the math department actually will be facilitating it. So that's one thing. And then next week is Men on the Move. And we have a flyer also in the chat. I have Crystal put it back in the chat again. But this is through our Male Engagement Network. And so we are challenging fathers to walk their kids to schools. We have a lot of different activities connected to that, and that's also in the chat as well. You can find this information. It's been pushed out to our schools. It's also on our website, on our district calendar for those upcoming dates. And Travis also added it to the chat as well.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Also on this Thursday, September 21st, we have our policy review committee meeting that will be at 9:30 in the morning, and also our audit committee meeting that will be at 2 p.m. Notices will go out via email, and also will be posted on all of our social media websites where you can join in person or you can also join virtually. This Friday is South Atlanta cluster night at 7:30 p.m. at Lakewood. I also want to uplift Chief Applin and our Safety and Security Department is conducting a host of safety town halls throughout the district. And so we'll also put this flyer in the chat on next Tuesday, September 26th at 6 p.m. will be the Thera Cluster Safety Town Hall hosted by Chief Applin, and it'll be in the Joseph E. Lowry Auditorium at Thera High School. And then on next Thursday, September 28th, the South Atlanta Cluster Safety Town Hall will be at 6 p.m. at South Atlanta High School Auditorium. So we'll put those in the chat so that you can mark your calendars there. Also on the 28th is our Budget Commission meeting at 10 a.m. and the City of Atlanta APS joint meeting at 6 p.m. That meeting, if you've been following us over the years, APS and the City of Atlanta has partnered in creating a joint committee to really discuss issues and also dive into thinking about solutions collectively that impact our children and also our communities as a collective unit. And so that joint meeting will be held on next Thursday at 6 p.m. And so, and then the last but not least, we are entering homecoming season. So I do want to shout out our homecomings that are happening. South Atlanta homecoming will be on Friday, October 6th. And Thurl High School homecoming will be on Saturday, October 21st at 4 p.m. So definitely want to emphasize that time because it is a Saturday homecoming that is earlier in the day. And then last but not least, we'll more than likely I will more than likely have a community conversation, but not before this date. We have school board elections that are underway this year. Currently, we are the only election that will be taking place this year, so turnout is going to be extremely important for our odd seats that are up for re-election. This is our first staggered term election in history where we've changed our board structure to where we're on staggered terms, and the odd seats are up for election this year. Election day will be Tuesday, November 7th, with early voting beginning on October 16th, which is right around the corner. Wanted to put this on your radar because, again, this is the only election that is on this year's ballot for a November election. And so turnout is going to be really key. There is debates that are happening, forums that are happening, questionnaires, the good parts of campaigning that are underway. So you will see a lot of those things posted, communicated, and also promoted in terms of being able to attend. So we'll put those dates in, and there'll be some additional reminders as much as we can, but also encourage if you have neighbors that are not in tune as much with what's happening in APS, but they are voters, and they don't miss an election, and they also need to vote. Please share this in your community circles about this year's school board election. It is 5 of our 9 seats. And so we want to make sure that we have it, that everyone's voice is heard, and that we have a strong turnout for this year's election. With that being said, Dr. Bat, I wanted to see if before we open up for community conversation, wanted to see if any of our department leaders, Dr. Bat, if there was any reminders or anything else that you want to make sure that is on the community's radar. Wanted to give you guys a few moments to do that at this time.
You covered everything that I was thinking of, Madam Chair. Erica, is there anything that she's missed?
I'll probably just mention the Go Team Summit this Saturday, and I know Travis and his team will give that a shout out as well. This is the first in-person convening of all of them since back before COVID, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you.
Right. So, and we'll put that information, if we can, just drop that information in the chat as well, so that the community has that information for this Saturday. Great. So with that being said, I will now, I'll go, we can spend the remainder of the time hearing your questions, thoughts, feedback. What I will ask is to be mindful of everyone's time. And so Keith, if you can help, I know we have a couple of hands that are raised now. If you can help with just the order in which we want to call as hands are going up, making sure they come down, to just make sure we cover everyone. So we have a few minutes together, and we can go ahead and start. The first hand I see raised is Cindy.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Hey, hi Cindy. How are you?
I was calling. I know this was not on the agenda and it's passed, but I was just trying to figure out, what were your thoughts on the charter school that was trying to be opened and get on the ballot? What were your thoughts about it? Because I know that it was put off, and so.
You said you said the charter school that was put on the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't
have on the charter school.
Okay, so recently, if I'm following you correctly, this month we made the decision not to move forward with the application for Tapestry Charter School. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yep, no problem. So the board decided to move forward without deny the application of Tapestry Charter School. The recommendation from the district was not to recommend approval of that application, because of there were the district, in terms of what we are wanting to figure out what is our ground game and landscape in this space. As you know, we're in a transition with leadership with the superintendent. There were concerns that the administration linked in as the administration conducted the equity impact assessment in terms of some of the practices and some of the things that happened at Tapestry. So yes, I did support the administration recommendation as a board member. It is one thing to support it as a board member, but we also need complete buy-in to make every school successful. And so if the administration felt right now was not the appropriate time for that, I supported the administration in that space, because they are our implementers to make that happen.
Okay, one more question and then I'm gone.
No problem.
So what are you all going to do? Because I noticed that in the schools there's a shortage for special education students, like, for kids that are trying to be tested or determine eligibility for special ed, for kids that are already in special ed. It's a real shortage. So right now, the special education department is kind of suffering. So You voted out the tapestry, which was gonna be geared toward that. What are you all gonna do to implement in your already school system that the special needs kids and special education department is going to be taken care of so these kids don't further get behind?
Yeah. So that was part of the conversation in terms with administration exploring what, where we are with some of the efforts that we're trying to do to improve special education, but also what are some of the major needs that we have across the board. I mean, we all know nationally there are shortages in teachers, and particularly in those specialized areas with special education in other areas. So these are concerns that are on our radar. And because we did not support this application for Tapestry, which had an enrollment of 300 students, when we are really as a district leaning into how can we best support the 1,000+ students that we have, that are special needs. That's where we're having conversations on what that looks like. Dr. Battle and her team is leaning into that, and so maybe this is something that we can take back and carve out time to do a deeper dive on, and we have. So this is not a situation that is new to us and that we're not aware of, but we also want to be very open and transparent about where we are as a district. I can't give you any tactical, tangible strategies in my role as a board member, but what I can do is get with the administration to get a full overview, and hopefully that additional information will help you understand what we're trying to do in that space.
Okay, so you all are working on it basically.
Yeah, and we've been working on it. So it hasn't start. It's a start to stop. We've been working on this, working on it for years. And so we all are open and transparent and honest about the impact that we're seeing. But I think for me, and this is just my personal opinion, I don't want you to take away that the fact that we didn't support the Tapestry application, that's indicative that we don't support the need for increasing and improving our special education services across the board. So I do want to put that there.
No, I wasn't taking that away
Okay.
from that, but I was just pinpointing that. Okay, where I made the connection is a school was going to come in to cater to the needs of the special education department or special needs kids. You are denied that, yet you are denied it, but you have a shortage in that department, which has been going on for quite a while. Now that the shortage has been going on, because I know last year in the 2022-2023 school year, it was stated that there was a shortage. Now we've rolled over, we've come back. Now we're in 2023-2024 school year, there still is a shortage. So I was just trying to figure out what are we gonna do to catch the shortage up? Because meanwhile, while everybody's trying to figure out a plan, there are kids that are in need of the special education that can't even get their paperwork started because of the shortage. Therefore, they're in an environment where they can't learn successfully. Let me use that word. Because of the need of the services that they can't get. So that means that they're falling behind. To me, that's unacceptable. And when you talk to the board members, all you hear is, well, we're trying, we're working on it, we're meeting on it. It needs to be something did about that because these kids are suffering. They're really suffering.
I mean, this is Dr. Battle. Thank you for sharing that. But I will say that each school that I visited since I've been here on day 12, I visited 19 schools, and I specifically asked to go to every special ed classroom, self-contained or a co-taught classroom, to see what our students were receiving. I saw classroom teachers teaching, because they didn't know what classes I was going to ask to see, because typically a lot of times when people go in the building, they don't ask to see those classrooms, but I intentionally asked to go see those classrooms, talk to those teachers, talk to the staff members, asking, what are your needs? So if you find that there are certain schools or people, please let the principals know or let our office know, because we're here to solve those issues that we have. We did see a lot of great things going on in our special ed classrooms. And if you're saying that people aren't being tested. They should be, because there's a when there's a federal law, when you sign, you have a certain number of days to get those students tested. So we don't want to be out of compliance. So please just keep us informed.
Well, the reason why I said that is because my grandbaby attends M. Agnes Jones, and I've been waiting on the SST meeting since last year. So we talking about kindergarten. Now she's in the first grade. I'm still waiting. And I know that first grade has just started. The year has just started. But I'm not saying that she's in need of special ed, but there was some things that I saw brought to the attention of the teacher. The teacher saw it, and then we went together to work a plan. Therefore, she went all kindergarten year without any services, without any meetings, although the teacher did work hard to provide her the best education that she could. So I'm gonna give kudos to the teacher. She's in a classroom now where the teacher is doing the same thing. But as you know, as we go up the ladder, it gets a little bit more difficult. So I'm just a little bit concerned. However, she's not the only child. It's about 10 of them in that school. And because he's short-staffed, and that's all I've heard, these kids are just going without. So it's unacceptable. But I appreciate.
Yep.
Well,
And
we're
so
gonna get right on it,
before you
Cindy.
respond,
We're gonna
Dr.
get right
Battle,
on it.
we're gonna let Dr. Battle respond, Cindy, and then we're gonna come back to you later after we hear from others if you have some additional dialogue, okay?
Miss Ivy, we'll give you a call. We put a number for you to call tomorrow. If not, if you put your number in here, we'll call you tomorrow so we can make sure we get on you. Take care of your granddaughter.
Okay, thank you.
You're
No
welcome.
problem. Thank you, Cindy. Who do we have next, Keith?
Yep. So it's Robin. We'll go Robin, and then to Waukesha, and then to Cam.
Okay.
Thank you for allowing me to have a say in tonight's meeting, and thank you for this opportunity. Two things I wanted to know more about: the safety program that you have scheduled for Thero. What's involved in that? What is the focus of that? Because I'm sorry, but I'm not familiar with that program. And then the second thing is, Eshé, you had mentioned the surplus list. So
Yes.
I'd like to, I didn't see it in the chat. I just want to make sure that list gets posted in the chat.
Okay, I think it is. I'll send it. I'll get it to you, Robin. But
Okay.
but the Thero meeting is a safety community town hall, and so Chief Applin, who's the head of our safety and security department, is touching every cluster and is hosting a community town hall on safety. And so, if as a community member and as a community leader, Robin, I'll send this information so you can get out to the NPU as well to just talk about safety concerns that are impacting that is impacting our cluster. And we would love to have your thought partnership and feedback based on what you're also seeing in the community as well. So it's not a program, it's a town hall to discuss the safety piece. And I'll drop that flyer in here so you can share as well.
Great, because I wanted to know if the community was invited. So thank you. That was a good explanation. I understand now.
Absolutely. And then the surplus list is in the chat. I'll also send it. I can send it directly to you as well.
Okay, I'll take another look in the chat though. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Thank you so much, Robin. So we'll go Waukesha and then to Kimberly Dukes.
Okay.
Thank you, Keith. Hey, Eshé. Hey, Dr. Battle. Big shout out to Keisha and Travis. I see y'all over there doing y'all engagement thing. I had two questions for you, Eshé.
Okay.
One was the safe. Well, I'll say that's a suggestion. The safety meetings that are happening on now. I hope that they happen throughout the year. Yep. And not just because we got new administration, right now. Mm-hmm. I hope that continue. The other part is, can you tell us the gains that we have made over the last 2 or 3 years predate Dr. Battle? I know she just got here, but could you give us not the graduation rate, but the gains that we've seen in special needs, gifted, or just overall that could justify why we would go with the same firm that helped pick the last superintendent? That's all.
Okay, so you're saying, okay, so just to make sure I have you wanted to know what our gains have been over the last, and so I guess you're talking
Yes.
about the last 3 years
Mm-hmm.
post-pandemic in those key areas, and the basis of us choosing the same firm that helped us select helped us select our former superintendent, Dr. Herring, at that
Yeah.
time. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
got it. So I'll get the gains, and if you want, I could get the concrete data to you. But if you've been following, I mean, I know you are, but for the community at large that is with us and following our monitoring report, we reset our base. We reset our baseline, but also monitoring our progress aligned with our goals and guardrails that we set. And so it is literacy proficiency, numeracy proficiency, ensuring that our students are not only taking but are succeeding in advanced placement courses, and we also have our college and career readiness component. As you've been we've been in these conversations and dialogue, monitoring our data. Well, we've seen some regression that has happened post-pandemic in terms of our students with literacy and numeracy, and we've had conversations on resetting our and we did reset our baseline targets to align with the regression that we've experienced. We've seen incremental, so based on the data that we have, that, as you know, is a sample population, we've seen incremental gains. I can't call out the exact numbers and percentages for you right now, but what I can do for the community is drop in our link where you can see the monitoring reports in those areas. One thing that the board is having conversations on, and Waukesha, I appreciate you asking this question, because what we are toggling with is the rate of our growth and success that we want to see. Incremental gains are good, but what is our absolute potential to really close gaps that have widened across the board, that has impacted our children? Now, I'm going to say I wouldn't necessarily fully contribute that to previous leadership. There's a host of factors in place, but what I will say, and this is what we really need the community to support us with this search firm. The community engagement strategy is one of our top priorities that we linked in on the capacity of the search firm to help us with for this reason. So we will be coming out to the community and whether it's our neighborhood groups, our philanthropic community, our safety, all of our different groups, for this exact feedback, Waukesha, where you're able to share what you want to see in the next superintendent. And if it is, we want a superintendent that's going to increase our gains by this percentage or by this much, you will have that opportunity to share that so we can build build that profile. So I know, and I can get the concrete data for you, and I'll
Yes,
drop
please.
those. Okay, yeah, I'll get that.
Thank you so much.
It's in our monitor reports. Thank you.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I think it wasn't Miss Dukes that was next.
Yes. Yeah, I'm next. Good afternoon, Eshé. Good afternoon,
Hey,
Dr.
Miss
Battle.
Dukes.
The other board members on the call, good afternoon. I think as special education, that is the conversation that you hear no matter where you go. And just with that being said, I heard you say, talk about the incremental gains. And what I'm noticing, not only with my kids, but dealing with the other parents and going into these IEP meetings, a lot of our teachers and in the IEP space, they need support. A lot of those things are really premature. So you have a lot of self that maybe just came into the space or 1 and 2 years and they really don't know, right? I'm experiencing situations where you have teachers that they have not had an encounter with a child that have a one-on-one like myself. And so making sure that teachers are trained and they understand how to approach certain kids with disabilities. If not teachers, the admin has to be trained. And I'm seeing that is not the case because a lot of kids, just this last week, we had parents to not be given the option of an MDR, but get a letter from tribunal. And I know it could be an honest mistake, but just making sure that we're, slowing down on the district level to send that letter because that makes parents panic. So I want to make sure we are educating our teachers because I went in the IEP meeting and some of ourselves, they don't know how to read the data. When it say 2 percentile, they're saying that kids are like on the second grade level or vice versa. And so it's confusing for parents. So I want to think about, I'm always asking about parent training. How can we do those trainings together? Because we understand capacity, but the goal is for us to also help our own children So if there is a space that we can learn and grow together, I think that that is the thing that you guys should create.
Yeah.
Because special education, it's an issue, and
Mm.
it's like a copy and paste with those IEPs. We're not revisiting them, and parents are open to learning, but we need to be willing to do it together, especially in that literacy space, because we understand the crime rate. We know what it looks like when our kids can't read, and I have 6 black boys in Atlanta, and that's why y'all see me every month, and I'm not gonna stop coming. So that's one thing, Eshé. The other thing, community engagement. Just want to make sure that you guys are engaged in the community. It's just the way that Dr. Ballard engaged community. We would love for the district people and the board members to come out and just have a conversation, real conversation, so that we can get to know each other and build those relationships, and you can hear it. Because what we heard you say is, I talk to the teachers, I talk to the students, but nobody really speaks to the parents and how it looks from our point of view. We come to the board meeting, but actually having those conversations one off, I think that is necessary. Maybe it's a healthy debate space where it's a common issue that's going on in a district that parents are dealing with, and we can work together on how to solve that issue. But I think that's the space we have to navigate, so we can create what culture should look like, and we're trying to work together. The only way we can do that is together. One other incident I want to know, and it's a touchy conversation when we talk about Title 9, and when we talk about sexual harassment amongst children. When those things are reported, I want to know what is the process when you go into the school and report it, or if a parent or a student reported. Is in it that they are mandated reporters and they're supposed to report it and allow the investigation to happen, or if not, what is the policy and the procedure around it, so I can help the parent. I'm sorry in the moment.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll take that. I'll address that, and also want one administration to chime in. Then I'll just have a couple of questions about your other two comments. So with title, so everyone in educate, all of our educators are mandatory reporters, period. So if there's an incident that's happening that a child has shared or educator has seen, there is a we are in a mandatory reporting space by law. Where it varies is the reporting, the actual reporting structure, and also the incident. So there is, pre-investigative conversations that happen, pulling that information, and then of course the reporting to the school leaders, and then the escalation there. Dr. Bowder and administration, do you all want to provide a deeper,
or if you're willing to have a one-off conversation with my team when we're helping parents, because that is a such situation, and we want to know how to talk parents through it so that they can get assistance, because parents are really passionate when they don't get the reaction that they want, and we push parents to look at it from a holistic point of view, from both kids' point of view, but it's kind of hard. But we want to be able to assist them with having that conversation so that they can give grace if need be. But we want to make sure we're taking things like that really seriously as well, because for girls it can be harmful, and boys too.
Yes,
yeah, no,
Ms. Hicks,
absolutely.
and
Go ahead. Sorry.
students do have protections against sexual harassment that is within the student code of conduct. And those Title IX investigations are handled by our Office of Student Discipline.
And so I think, Erica, the next part is more so of the additional learning opportunities and support for parents in that space that Ms. Dukes, that we can circle back and talk about what those opportunities are and work collaboratively and collectively in those conversations. Just a heads up that there are, and this is a lawyer, the ed policy side of my work, there are revisions to Title IX that will be rolled out sometime next year. Congress still hasn't fully authorized them yet, and so I share that with you to say there is going to be some opportunity there as well in terms of what those actual revisions to Title IX and the changes to Title IX and how that will impact. So we'll keep you all posted. But I do think that there's opportunity for learning there. Ms. Deuce, I think it's important just to let us know what that looks like, and working collaboratively and collectively to provide those opportunities and education learning experiences for our families. And in terms of,
go ahead.
No, I'm fine. Go ahead.
I had one more question around, well, not a question, it's more so of a request. And a shout out, because I love my principal, but the special education coordinator, Ms. Fitz, And the team at Cleveland Avenue, they model that special education model very well, and they interact with parents really well. So that is a model space when parents are going in. They making sure parents really understand that space. Yeah, I want to make sure I'm shouting them out as well. I don't want to be shouting up all the time, but Miss Fitz, she rocks, and she makes sure that her team understands, and she also makes sure we understand. So if coordinators led like her, it'll be easy for us because some of them, they don't even want to have a conversation at the time. But you know the business.
Thank you for that. And maybe Ms. Vick can be one of the ones that help train to shed some light to the parents, as well as train some of the other cells across the city, across our district.
Great. Thank you so much, Mrs. Dukes, for uplifting that. And then the community engagement space, we can talk more about that. We're all in the space of, I know board members, I know particularly for me, it's creating a schedule, being more engaged, and let me not say being more engaged, going back to my traditional ways of how I engage, where we were out more. These spaces, I'm gonna be fully transparent. There are a lot more people that are joining the calls. I'm out in the community. I am in NPU meetings. I'm at neighborhood association meetings, but we are working on a solid community engagement plan as a template for each board member in terms of what that engagement looks like. So it looks different across, from board member to board member, but we are collectively working through that now just to create a template for board members. But I can specifically just state, for me as an individual board member, you will see a more dedicated, going back to my calendar. Like I was very clear about, these are the dates that we're meeting. These are the meetings I will be at. These are the NPU meetings that I'll be at based on calendar. That's where I'm in the process of locking down now. So I will make sure you all have that information as well. And thank you so much for uplifting Dr. Battle's engagement over the last, since she's been here in a short window. She's always been that way. And so just really excited that also the community is experiencing her level of engagement as well. So wanted to shout that out for you, Dr. Battle, just the love that you're receiving. We have a couple of more minutes, and I think we have, after Ms. Dukes, Keith, do we have anyone else?
I saw a hand, but they put it back down, so I don't know. Right now, it looks like we are good. Oh, there she go. Okay. All right, so we have 3 hands that just went up, and so the time is 6:59, and so we will end with those 3.
Okay, that's fine. Yep.
For closing remarks. So we'll go Jasmine, Paisha, and then to Akeem.
Okay.
Hi, greetings everybody.
Hey.
Jasmine Banks. Just a quick question, because just looking at the numbers with community engagement, like it's the numbers, if you look at percentage wise, you're missing a large population because of course parents work or they don't know about these meetings, the access to it. And it's because life for a lot of people in APS, and so they're not aware, they're not able to maybe even fully engage with these conversations. So if you go into school space, the numbers are about the same when it comes to like achievement rates, right? 50% out of 100 students are reading on grade level, on or above grade level. Data says that in those spaces. So engaging with those students and those parents that aren't able to make it to these spaces, or those community, housing association meetings and those type meetings, or don't even just have the knowledge, where can we open a space for those families and in that group of, or that percentage of families who don't get the community engagement? Because those are the students that we're trying to help pull up. And so maybe just help them understand that space and how we can grow in that space.
That would be great. I would love to hear your feedback on it. And I mean, I know we are, our principal leaders share when they're doing their coffees, when they're sharing their cluster meetings, when they're sharing. I visited schools where they were the best time. Of course, one of the best times of the year was the beginning of the year when parents were coming, and so that information is shared with us. Where we are making it to those meetings. We're hosting coffees. We are in the community. We're taking calls. We're responding to emails. We're having these sessions virtually and in person. We are connecting and collaborating collaborating with other organizations and their engagement. So if there are any other spaces and feedback that you feel that we are missing the mark and that could be helpful, we are working with the Atlanta Council PTAs, that some of our PTAs are getting updated and what those meetings are. We have Go Team meetings that are happening. We have cluster advisory team meetings that are happening. So any additional more innovative ways of touch point of engagement for us will be great. So that, I mean, there's a lot of engagement that's happening, but we need to be more intentional and more focused in that space. I mean, went to Carver reunion this weekend to connect with parents, just as an example. So there's a lot of movement that is happening. But honestly, if you feel that there are some more additional innovative ways that we can engage, please let me know, and we can incorporate and explore those ideas as well.
Okay, so just email you and I will be able to, I guess, schedule a meeting or so.
Yeah, absolutely. I dropped my information in the chat. My cell phone number is there, and also my email. So let's do that, and I would love to sit down with you or schedule a meeting to talk for sure.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right, thank you. And so we'll end with Akeem.
Oh, Miss
Oh, you did.
Odom
Her hand went down. I'm sorry, Akeem. I see it. You go ahead. You got it.
Oh, hey, I just want
to wait, Akeem. Hold on, right quick. Hold on. Well, you know what? You go ahead, Akeem, and then we'll end.
Yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
Oh, Miss Odom.
I just wanted to speak. Hello, everyone. We do have PTA meeting at Mays this Thursday at 6. I know that this is a different district, but if anyone know anyone down the Mays cluster, tell them it pays to come to PTA. Dr. Battle, thank you for your leadership, and thank you for your leadership work, woman Collins. And have a good night, everybody.
Yep. Just really quickly, Akeem, because you broke up, you said that Mays High School is having a PTA meeting this Thursday at 6 p.m.
Yeah, and it pays to come.
In the Mays, literally. In the Mays where?
At Mays, it's going to be in the media center.
Okay. At Mays Media Center, as soon as you come in to the right, the PTA meeting will be this Thursday at 6 p.m. So I want to make sure that the community heard you.
Yes, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you. Miss Odom, will you be the last to close us out tonight?
Oh, sorry, I would love to.
Yes.
Greetings, Madam Chair Collins, Dr. Better, and all of you here and parents. I want to invite you all. I put it in chat a couple of times, but on this Thursday, we will have a peace symposium. Peace stands for practice self-love, empower yourself, adopt a positive mindset, coping skill, and execute. September is one of the suicide and mental health awareness months. It's with one of our partners of the Ladies of Nu Lambda Omega, and they have a host of mental health professors that is going to be here, such as Dr. Vidal Annan. He is the clinical psychologist and the senior director chair of mental health at Georgia Tech. And he's also bringing one of his colleagues from Georgia Tech, Jose Meldrew and Dr. Adrian Berry. So there's 7 different clinical professionals that's going to be here to talk about bullying awareness, mental health, how to keep the peace this school year. There are some free giveaways. They came last Thursday and spoke with some of the students, and they loved it. They have some nice things, and they will have resources. Free for everyone is this Thursday at 6 p.m. at their high school. If you forget, just call, ask for Miss Odom, and I'd be happy to make sure you get there. Thank you.
Okay. You said Thera?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Odom, for closing us out tonight. I hope you all found this information helpful. Our contact information is in the chat. It's also posted on our website. If feel free to give me a call or shoot an email to me so we can schedule a time to meet. I really appreciate everyone's time. Thank you so much to APS administration and our school leaders for joining us, our community leaders, our teacher staff, everyone that has joined us, our parents, community members, and also we had a couple of students to join us as well that hopped off. Thank you all so much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Thank you again. Have a good evening.
All right. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you all. Good information. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks,